Hello and welcome to Page Turners, a weekly bookish podcast for every kind of reader. Whether you want to explore a variety of genres, tick books off your growing TBR, or simply skip the reading for book club, we've got you covered. That's Amy.
And that's Liv. Hello.
Hello. Happy week. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Friday feeling today on the pod. Rare for us to record on a
Yeah, no,
Friday.
I was getting myself a drink, getting ready, and I did consider because there was a bottle of wine on the bench, and I did sort of go, oh, maybe, and then
Hey.
maybe when we convert or we're halfway through, maybe I'll come back with a little glass of wine.
Yeah, I've got a nice coffee, but I've sank the whole thing pretty much just from us talking. I can never savor an iced coffee. As soon as I have like one sip of it, I'm like, so good, so good. Yeah, I never even thought about having a little drinky drink. Never even thought about it. I forgot it was Friday. What a treat.
Ugh, I think that tells how your week's been then.
Yeah, it's been a long week. And I did some work at the weekend last week, so I had like a work event on. So it feels like I have had it just the 6 day work week is kicking me, really kicking in now. Like I just need this weekend.
Got any fun plans?
I'm getting my nails done tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
quite fun.
Spring colours?
Yes, I've got a little my nail tech is amazing, so I've got some ideas to take to her. I think I might get some little gems. I feel like a little something a little bit exciting. Yeah, she's great. She always just rolls her eyes though because you're supposed to tell her in advance if you want something a bit more in depth, and then you go in, you're like, could I just? And she's like, yeah, yes, you can. That's fine. Yeah, I've got that nice early tomorrow. And what have we got on this weekend? Not much. There's a new Vietnamese restaurant that's opened here.
What in Sterling?
Yeah,
Oh.
just this week. I think it only opened 2 days ago. So we really want to go and try it because yeah, want some banh mi. We had it in
Mm.
Vietnam and it was just so good, and I've just been craving it ever since. So yeah, I'm excited to do that tomorrow.
Small humble brag there. I just had it in Vietnam.
Just
Oh,
had it in
just
Vietnam when I went to Vietnam. It's good. Um, yeah, you are in a new location. You have got some exciting things going on.
yeah. No, I am. I have some exciting things. Absolutely not. I'm back at my mum and dad's, which is fun because when we did Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, I was also at my mum and dad's. Um,
Oh, that's a strange coincidence, isn't it? Hmm.
yeah. And so yeah, no, I'm just at mum and dad's. I'm sat in the front hallway of the bungalow, and it is the smallest room that has ever existed.
What do you mean
Um,
you're sitting in the Grand Library?
oh no, sorry, you're so right. You're so right.
Don't
In
ruin the
my
illusion, Liv, please.
Yeah, no,
Have you
I
got
basically
plans?
sort of. Alex has basically gone down south. He's at a stag do in Devon, but he went via his mum and dad's, so he's dropped me here. We've been here for 3 days now.
Nice.
He's been here with the dog,
Hmm.
and yeah, and he's coming back Sunday or Monday. Maybe
Hmm.
never. The way I sound with him made it seem as if I was like, maybe he'll come back home. Uh, but yeah, I just couldn't be asked to be by myself for a week.
No, I think that's nice. I do it all the time. If Rudy's away and I know he is, and I'm maybe off work or I've just I just know I'm going to have quite a lot of time in the evening, I'll just go to mum and dad's and chill with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's nice too.
we're both only children and have that capacity. Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm meeting up with a friend tomorrow. We are going to Beamish. So that it is called a living museum. And it's essentially I'm gonna get this wrong. I want to say so it does a few different time periods, but it's specifically mm, don't want to
This
get
is
this wrong.
exciting. So, is it like a kind of Renaissance type fair thing, or is it like you go in and it's a recreation of what things were like back in the town. I
Yes, it
love
is.
those things. Yeah.
And it's essentially Beamish since I think it's like Victorian,
Cool. Yeah.
maybe. Um, yeah, and you walk around. You can go to like you can go down the coal mines. You can go into the hospital. You can go sorry, or the dentists. Like the sweetie shop is the best place because it's real sweets and stuff, and you can buy them. Um, then yeah, you can just do a bunch of stuff. It's yeah. We always used to go on school trips.
Mm,
Um.
mhm, mhm.
But the friend I'm going with is a she's a teacher and she's basically getting in for free because she's doing like a workshop, like planning a work trip for the kids. So I'm coming as well.
So she's going to do a recce. She's going to do like a risk
Yeah.
assessment. Yeah, cool. Ah,
And
nice.
plan out work sheets and things like that. So we're gonna do that, go have a nice bit of lunch, maybe a couple of glasses of wine.
Mm.
Um, but this evening I'm gonna go off to a friend's house to play some games and have some drinkies.
Ah, it's so
Um,
nice when you're at home, isn't it? Just get to like go and see people. I remembered that when I lived in Guernsey. Now, not so much because it's just you're not a novelty anymore. So people are like, yeah, we can catch up at some point. But when you came back, when you live away, it's really nice that everyone's like, "Oh, must make time to catch up." So yeah, oh, lovely, nice
Very
weekend.
nice. I believe you have some book news for us.
Yeah. Do you want to do both or just one?
Mm, let's power through both.
Both. Okay. So I was having a little look-see when I went to download the book that we're chatting about today, and I noticed a very similar cover of a completely different book series by a completely different author. But this author has just decided to, I guess, jump on the jump on the hype of Laurie Gilmore and all these cutesy slice of life cozy romances and written their own version. Very, very similar cover, but no affiliation to Laurie whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I at first you told me that so it's called the Irresistible Blueberry Bake Shop and Cafe
Yes, it's a
by
yes. Hmm.
Mary. I want to say Simses.
Sims or Simses, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to see if
Um,
you can see it. I don't know if that'll
and
show up. Is it going to show up? No. Oh, kind of. No. We can put it in. Um, it's just the sort of it's very similar. It's the facade of a cafe. It's got the little cutesy cat sitting on the stairs. It's got a very similar font.
mm,
Um, I mean, I feel like if you didn't see the author's name at the bottom and you just saw that sort of quickly, you would assume that's another Laurie Gilmore.
yeah, yeah, it's an interesting one. Do we definitely know when this was published? Do we know if it
That's
was?
a really good question. Let me see if I can find it. 2013.
Oh,
Oh, we've blown the whole thing wide open.
here we were coming to bat for Laurie, being like, I just don't think you can steal
No,
someone's IP like that.
sorry, Mary. Goodness me.
Yeah, I mean.
Publication date 9th of July 2013.
Do you think maybe it's had a here's a few things. So clearly it's a cozy town, small setting type thing,
Mm-hmm.
opposite or something like that. Something like a it's I saw now a Hallmark movie called The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. Patreon content.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I wonder whether do you think it's had a revamp?
I feel like it must have done. It feels quite similar. Ellen is tasked with fulfilling her grandmother's last wish to find the hometown boy she once loved and give him her last letter. And then she goes to a little quirky, eccentric Beacon is the name of the town. And I think it's enemies to lovers. Opposites attract, enemies to lovers, cozy small town setting.
Oh no, okay, but the male main character is called Roy.
Roy! I just think of Roy Cropper from Coronation Street when I think of the name Roy. It's like, sexy. Um, oh wow. Okay, yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's been a new cover potentially.
Yeah. You know what? Further investigation needed. Not
I
for us
know.
to not for us to speculate, but
We were coming in there to really have a go at Mary, so apologies. We got that very wrong.
yeah, apologies, Mary. You are, if anything, the injured party here. Uh, anyway, on to other book news. We can we'll bring you the latest next week.
Yeah, we've got a scoop here. We need to really look into it because that's what all good journalists do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah. Next piece of book news. Whoa. So there's been recently, I don't know if it's been published, but there are arcs, samples of arcs floating around. A very dark, so dark romance book with very dark themes, um, where the male main character has had, doesn't necessarily say sexual feelings, but has had desire for the female main character since she was 3 years old. And the author is defending this because they do not have any sexual involvement until she is 18.
And or sorry, I'm going to quickly interrupt you there. That already smacks of like, yeah, we dated when I was 27 and she was 15, but we didn't have sex until the day of her 18th birthday. Definitely. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, yeah, sure. Okay, powerful white man. Like,
Mm. Yeah, this is a very, it's an interesting one. I won't say the name, I won't say the author. I think people kind of know and are maybe there's a lot of controversy going on around it right now. Just because it's really triggering too. So definitely if it is something you're going to go and look into, just be aware that it is definitely uh people have got real concerns about child sexual abuse,
yeah.
pedophilia. So yeah, this is a
I
dark, dark one.
I think as well, when we were just talking about it before, you were saying that people are almost coming after the dark romance community because of this by saying like, oh, you see, you're always just pushing the taboo, pushing the sort of, oh, the shock factor, etc. But, I
Yeah, to be fair, I think quite a lot of the dark romance community have rejected this book too, though, and said, feels like you're trying to be shocking for shocking's sake to sell books.
yeah, not
Um,
actually for any sort of a value add. Yeah, as well, like to try and for anyone else on the outside trying to blame the dark romance community because, fine, there are some topics there within dark romance that, people might not enjoy. That's
mm,
absolutely fine. They reserve the right to not enjoy them, just as much as people deserve the right to enjoy them. But just because something is written that shocks you doesn't mean it's written just for shock value.
mhm.
I don't think you can blame an entire genre or an entire community of people who like certain books for someone's agency or sorry, someone's free will that's got their own agency that can write whatever they want. Like it's not,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the fault of, yeah,
No,
s-
no,
yeah, no.
not the fault of the reader, at all. It's a It's a really interesting one. I don't know what the author's thought process is there. Is it to be shocking to sell books? Is it because it's the most taboo of all the subjects and dark romance deals with taboo? I have no idea what they're thinking about there, but it's terrible, terrible taste.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I get what you're saying about taboo, but there's taboo and then there's taboo, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
like,
I feel like a lot of the time the taboo appeals to people reading dark romance because it's not something necessarily they would ever want to explore in their real life. So it's the escapism, it's the curiosity, it's, getting to read about this topic in a safe way.
yeah.
Um,
I think as well that the definitely what you said there, getting to read about it in a safe way as well. We've talked about this before on the pod, like certain people who are, have had horrible things done happen to them. Certain people who have had horrible things happen to them um can sort of read it in the safety and they find it quite healing as opposed to
mhm,
triggering. I mean, not everybody's the same, obviously.
mhm.
But
No,
yeah, it's that's a that's a that's a one that I don't think. Yeah, I don't want to say there's not a right answer. In my head, that's not that's not a taboo that anyone should want to experience in any
no,
kind of.
No.
safe
I
setting or
mean,
whatever. That's just it's wrong. It seems wrong.
it is wrong. Amazon have pulled it from Kindle Unlimited, certainly. I can't find it anywhere there. But someone had said in a previous thread that I was reading through, it can still be purchased as a paperback. So I don't know if that's because it's Kindle Unlimited and they don't want the affiliation, and that's why they've pulled that sort of e-copy as opposed to the physical copy. But the physical copy could be gone now. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah, but I mean, at the
Googled.
same time, Amazon just, there's a gushing there of like a little snifter of perhaps, oh yeah, we'll still make money off of it, but people
And
can't
at the
read it for
end of
free.
the day, I'm telling you, if you've ever, and I haven't read them, but I know about them. If you ever look at like the splatterpunk genre of horror, there's very explicit references to child sexual abuse in those kind of books. So it's not as if this book, oh yeah, it's not as if there's no other book on Amazon that potentially is going to have that content. So you maybe need to be a bit more thorough in your taking down of, and as you say, are they really going to do that?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
th
know.
I think the only reason they would take this one down is probably because of, like you said, if we've heard about it, that means that generally quite a lot of people have been talking about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that means it's for bad press avoidance rather than any other reason.
Yeah, there's no morality there, is there? I mean,
Yeah. There's no way Jeff Bezos is offended by having sex with young girls. Like, no.
okay.
We're on Amazon Podcast as well, so
I
that's
was gonna say, if you listen to
oh,
us on Amazon podcast, no, you don't.
it's a long-time friend of the podcast, Jeff Bezos.
Another one. Who have we had
Yeah,
now?
Tyson Fury, Wilfred Owen, um, Jeff Bezos.
That list
We
is
haven't had a
growing.
friend, yeah, we haven't had a friend of the podcast for a while. I will have to keep
Well,
that up. Amy, what are you reading this week?
I am reading a book called Traces by Patricia Wiltshire. I'll
Fabulous.
just tell you what the little, summary on the front is. It's the memoir of a leading forensic scientist and criminal investigator. So Patricia Wiltshire is an incredible woman, um, with quite traditional values, but she is incredibly intelligent in that she uses plants to solve crimes. So she will go into a crime scene, she will look at the natural environment, and she'll use that to build clues about the crime scene, the circumstances, the perpetrator of the crime. Fascinating. And she's been part of some huge high profile cases. Um, and it's a fascinating book. Really, really interesting. But yeah.
Amazing. That sounds
Mm.
class.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. She's got a couple of books. I think some of them are less well rated than others, but this is like her memoirs, so it's really
Everything.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm. You?
Uh, what else would I be reading but Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins?
Mm, I'm also reading that, but yeah, trying to also pretend that I'm reading other things. No, I am reading other things, but it's definitely not holding my attention the way that the way Sunrise on the Reaping is. So yeah.
But the less we'll not talk about that. Everyone knows what it's about. Everyone,
Mhm.
we don't need to go into it at all. So, onto more important matters for today. Amy, what have we read this week?
Let me get the name because I always say the name wrong. We have read The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by friend of the podcast, Laurie Gilmore.
Long time mortal enemy of the podcast, Laurie. Trigger warnings, as always. Lots of sexual content. Um, Partner death of a parent when young child. So yeah, pregnancy, accidental pregnancy. Mm,
I think there might have been reference to an abortion made at one point as well.
okay.
Possibilities around that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Obviously, apologies, if there is something that we've missed completely. I mean, let us know and we can, try and.
Put it in the summary or something. Yeah, we can do. Um, to be fair, we couldn't find a definitive list. There wasn't anything on a website. There wasn't really anything in the book. So we just sort of build the trigger warnings from what we read. So it's always best just to do your due diligence and have a look and see if there's been anything officially released about them. But I couldn't find anything today when I looked, so.
Yeah, well, you're a good egg for looking. Um, I love that we might not go every single episode from whenever we started doing trigger warnings in the new year, without you saying do your due diligence. Like, I love it so much.
That's it. Do it. Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Straight into the speedy summary, I think, because we've got lots to chat about, and let's not waste another second not doing that.
Okay.
Ready?
Right, just count me down, and I'm quite confident we're going to get to close to a minute. I wouldn't think it would be over a minute 30.
Well, let's see. 3, 2, 1, go.
Archer moves to Dream Harbour after learning he has a 5-year-old daughter, Olive, who is shy and hesitant around him. He takes over as head chef at the local diner and, after a smoothie spilling meet cute, hires Iris as a live-in nanny. She and Olive bond instantly, and over time, Olive warms up to Archer too. Meanwhile, Archer and Iris's chemistry grows, leading to a steamy but complicated romance complete with pancake batter foreplay and kitchen counter fingering. After miscommunication and tension, they secretly start dating. On that world-famous strawberry day, they decide to tell all but panic when she briefly goes missing. The bigger shock comes when Iris discovers she's pregnant. Overwhelmed, she quits, but Archer convinces her to stay, unaware of the baby. When she finally shares the news, he and Olive are thrilled. The diner is renamed the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and in the epilogue, their son Owen is born. Our story ends with another Dream Harbour match being made.
5163. Whew.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. So there's an elephant in the room. We need to discuss it.
Mhm.
If you guys have been listening to us for a while, or even just if you haven't listened to the other Dream Harbour episodes, all the last few episodes of us gearing up to this, you might have sensed some sort of maybe attitude, potential tone from one of us on this podcast towards the Dream Harbour novels. It is, of course, our very own Amy Watt. She is, how do we put, yeah, I think I always say to people, it brings me so much joy to do these books because I just get to watch Amy try not to say anything mean about them for the entirety that we talk about them. So yeah, Amy, we're on number 4. I mean, expectations going in versus expectations coming out. That's what I think I would like.
Okay, so, um, let's. To be fair, I didn't have very high expectations.
Oh,
I can't lie. I don't tend to read books that I think I'm going to dislike. I'm not really someone that hate reads books. I know some people get quite a lot of joy out of it. I'd have friends that get a lot of joy out of that. It's like, ha ha ha, I read it. I knew I wasn't going to like it, but it was fun just to read it. Um, it was okay. It wasn't the worst of the series, in my opinion. But I didn't get much more out of it than I expected to. And yeah, it's all right. I laughed at one part I was supposed to laugh at. There was something funny that Laurie had written to be funny, to be comedic, and I went, huh. So,
wow. Not even, sorry, you text me saying that. You text me, and it did sound, to be fair, tone is lost in text, but it sounded a lot more excited than that fake laugh that you just did then gave across.
no, I didn't just go, when you do like a little. It
Yeah.
wasn't that. Like I genuinely was like, haha, that was quite funny. Quite funny. Um, I do think that if I discovered these books when I was younger, and that's not to say that they are for a younger audience, but I liked more contemporary romance when I was younger. I used to read quite a lot of it because my mum liked contemporary romance when I was growing up, and I would sometimes share her books with her. Like I would say, like, "Oh, mum, I've not got anything to read. Or I can't decide what to read," and she'd be like, "Oh, this one." So I used to quite like that. I was a big fan of like Sophie Kinsella and those kind of authors when I was younger. So I think if I found this book then, I probably would enjoy it more. I just think my tastes are sort of too different now.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, if I can be so bold as to summarize into a
Hmm.
little light for you there, you have essentially expected nothing and came out sort of with like maybe a small coffee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had one of the strawberry patch pancakes, and they were fine. They were nice enough. It did what it was meant to do. It's meant to feel like slice of life, cozy, and it did. It did feel like that. Yeah. What about you? What were your first impressions? Because you feel differently about this series than I do. You enjoy them more.
Yeah, I enjoy them more than you do,
More.
but that's
Yeah,
not
that's a little word I put at the end.
fair. Um, this was the best one.
Okay, good.
This is my favorite. I definitely think this was. I feel like Laurie's getting better
Agreed.
as we go along. I did have a really interesting thought. Oh my God, because I'm so clever. And I wonder whether you'll agree. I found this one more tolerable because the most of the villagers aren't interfering in it.
Yeah, we didn't have that like the cameos where like people pop their head round the door and say things and then it impacts the main storyline. I agree. Yeah.
We did have those cameos, but if anything, they were impactful upon Archer and his pancake experience. Um, whereas with Archer and Iris, it was very much quite closed off, and I
Yeah,
found that
true.
attention to it meant that it actually built on the two of them
Hmm.
coming together as opposed to, you know, seeing each other from afar and
Hmm.
doing
Hmm.
stuff. So, and I also thought this was probably the most realistic one of close proximity. Like, I mean, the live-in nanny was a bit much, but I think
The
it
Lemon
probably
Nanny was a bit much because of how small the town was, but then when it kind of explained that he would be working nights and things, I thought, okay, well that sort of makes sense. But then he didn't really work nights because it was a diner. Diners aren't open that late. Well, they
I
can be, but not somewhere like Dream Harbour.
I think it was more, wasn't it, that he would have to go to work at like 5. So
Yeah, I mean,
it was that it
yeah.
wasn't nights, but it was only yeah. Look, fine. I think
We can skim over it. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah.
it's more realistic than I'm gonna come up to the Christmas tree farm and then get completely snowed in, then I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, that sets it two for me. I think this is probably one. There you go. That's positive. This is one. Christmas Tree Farm be two. Pumpkin Spice would be three, and I really didn't like Cinnamon Bun.
And cinnamon bun bookstore would be 5. Like
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't even really rank. Um, yeah, and you're right. I mean, that was nonsense with the weird scavenger hunt in the books, and it turned out to be her dad. Like that was a mess. Um,
Amy, Amy,
yeah.
don't let cinnamon bun bookstore ruin your day. All right, you've already
Not
you've already
again.
you've already had a tough week. We don't need to make it
That's
worse.
true. True. I can't think about that book on top of everything else. That's true.
But yeah, no, I quite like that. I actually found the relationship between Iris and Archer and the tension quite sexy. The fact it wasn't just blow your load at the first opportunity.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
they had like a sort of a will they won't they. They were the kissing. I thought the fingering scene was especially hot in the kitchen.
Enjoyed that. You enjoyed that moment. Yeah, yeah.
Although what I would have enjoyed potentially also more is him anti-backing the side and the benches afterwards, like just to be sure.
Just be
Like,
sure.
come on.
Get your
You've made a
Sephora spray out. Tss, 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 tss.
well, also you've been batch making pancakes, so like have you then been taking those pancakes to the diner and serving them potential finger pancakes?
Iris pancakes. Yeah.
Oh, that is big. Right. Yeah. So yeah, no, maybe I would like that. I only really made four notes in terms of sort of ridiculousness.
Okay.
In the, I don't, I just like you said, if we hadn't been reading this for the podcast, this might have been enough for me to just completely DNF the book straight away. So hold tight. It's the meet cute, so it's when she's like pouring the smoothies everywhere. Um,
Hmm.
he found himself wanting to lean into her touch. He wanted to keep talking to this frenetic woman. and then it says like he wanted blah blah blah, and I just put rules eyes. Like for fuck's sake,
I
like
know.
could he not have just been annoyed at it to begin with, and then being like,
Hmm.
oh, it's a bit fit, but like we don't have to, we know they're gonna get together. We don't need it to be like love at first sight or lust at first sight.
No, you're totally right. And there was no harm in it not being that because as you say, nobody reads these books thinking it's will they, won't they? We know what we're getting as soon as we start the book. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if weren't doing this for the podcast, I wouldn't read these books. So, I mean, that's that's fair enough. Um, yeah, it's not my ick of the week. We'll come to that, but I can see what you mean. I do. I can see what you mean.
Yeah, so yeah, there was only a few more notes. One of them's my ick, so we'll leave that till later.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, do you want to discuss the Springtime Strawberry Fields Forever Festival?
Just
And
didn't think we were going to get a festival, and then we started having reference to Strawberry Day, and I was like, oh my goodness, of course, here it comes, world famous Strawberry Day.
just just for context to anyone listening that hasn't read the book but likes to listen to us destroy the book. Um, You know how normally we say things like, oh, Amy and I go a little overboard and we say like, oh, the Christmas tree festival of light and joy and sun and laughter and everything. No, no, the Springtime Strawberry Fields Fest Forever Festival is the name
The
of it.
name, it's the name. Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's not us piss taking. That's the name.
Do you
And
think Laurie is leaning into this though? Because I
yeah,
think she is.
I was literally about to say that. I was
Yeah.
literally about to say, yeah, is
And do you know
there
what? Fine. Like that's quite funny. I actually prefer that over trying to make this serious. And
yeah,
yeah,
I definitely think this was the first time that I felt we were laughing along with her and it was a bit
yes.
satirical,
Hmm.
like with some of these
It's a
things.
bit camp, it's a bit tongue in cheek, and it actually made the reading experience better because you're right, you weren't reading thinking, what is this? You were thinking, okay, we're all in on the joke here, and this is a bit of fun.
Yeah, that was exactly what it felt like, for sure. I
Other
think,
notes?
well, there was yeah, the four words that anyone the four words that at which I knew it would have lost you if it hadn't have lost you already was, and she was pregnant. To which my note just was, "Boo!"
I know. Do you know, I, as soon as it started talking about, what was it that they said?
There's illusions, isn't there, earlier in the book? It's
Yes,
like she preps us for the worst.
she's emotional. At one point, she feels sick and nauseous. At another point, I'm sure there was something else, some other like really stereotypical, oh, what could that mean? Um, so I knew it was coming. I thought, "Oh."
Yeah.
It just felt a bit cheap, didn't it? Because the whole point of the story was that Archer's learning to be a dad. He's like quite out of his comfort zone with Olive, and then there's a quite nice little character development there of him like getting more used to the role and really trying his best. And Iris is also a little bit, well, you're saying frenetic, but we get that kind of sense that she's a mess. Like she's one of those very stereotypical rom-com characters, isn't she? Where it's like everything's so disjointed in her life and she's just not like other girls. She's so zany and her hair's tousled and um I thought, oh, right, that's nice that she's getting that responsibility with Olive and she's kind of growing up a little bit and then she gets pregnant and it just feels like it undoes all of that. It's like, oh, the perfect little nuclear family at the end then. Okay.
Yeah, so do you know, actually, I thought I was going to come on here and tell you that I really enjoyed the book.
Not
But
again.
well, I actually think it's probably the only time that there's been a pregnancy trope that I've not been like, yeah, I wrote boo because I knew that
Mhm.
this was coming. But actually, I didn't mind it so much. But now you've actually mentioned those things, and I've had time to think again. I'm like, oh yeah, like it just it. God forbid the woman sorts herself out. Like I can't just what? Why does there have to always be something wrong with the woman?
Thank you. Yeah,
Why, you
yeah.
know,
But
just because it
what was Jeannie's problem again?
she worked too much and
Yes,
then he
that's right.
lost didn't have any friends and then her boss had the heart attack and that was like a wake up
And
call.
she got a wake up call. And then I can't remember the name. Hazel. Hazel was turning 30. Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
She was basically dead.
Yeah,
Um,
she was a husk. Yep.
she'd never had any fun.
No, and then I can't remember the other
Uh,
character's name. And
Kira,
Kira, she was just a bit mean and she didn't really like people and she couldn't
and
open up to them.
she was a trust fund baby, but she's also at the same time like just bought this farm for no reason and it
Hmm.
needs success because she's poured her trust fund into it. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I just
You're right. There's always a problem with a problem. And I do say that with air quotes with the women. And there's always a man that comes along to fix the problem.
yeah. And I'm gonna give Laurie Gilmore a small amount of credit here. And I'm gonna say with Bennett in Christmas Tree Farm,
Mm.
he definitely is portrayed as more neurotic, sort of
Hmm.
anxious, helpy kind of knight complex, which I appreciate. I think we talked about how much we actually appreciate
Yeah,
he
we don't mind him. Mhm.
having a bit of a fucking problem. Um, I suppose if we go through Pumpkin Spice, you've got Genie and what the fuck's he called?
Oh, um, mm,
Let's just call him Farmer. Fair enough.
farmer
It's
guy.
it's his whole personality.
Hmm.
Um, that was his problem. It was his whole personality, and then he'd been sad because he proposed at the Christmas Tower of Lights
He had the
extra.
Christmas, he had the rejected
Yeah.
proposal. Yes.
But
Logan.
Logan, thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
And then Noah, well, I don't
Yep.
really know
And
Noah. He was actually, yeah, Noah was the only one that was like really quite a strong character from the off.
Noah wasn't from Dream Harbour, was he?
That's what it is.
So,
There's something in the water of Dream Harbour that's making these people shit. Um,
yes.
but with Archer, I don't know. I just felt like the only bad thing about him is that he just didn't really know how to be a dad. But I don't think that's a character failing because he didn't have any
Yeah.
children. And as far as he didn't, as far as he knew at the time, he didn't have any kids. So that's it again. It's once again the female's painted as this ditzy, fucking useless mid
Hmm.
to mid 20s. Oh, I don't really know what job I'm doing. I don't really know what I'm
Hmm.
doing. Like, it's fine. And until I think the worst thing about it is that I'm pretty sure there's an actual line in here where he's like, "But Iris, you're doing great. You do so many jobs. You look after so many people." And it's basically, and I just don't understand why she wouldn't ever be able to feel that for herself. Like,
Hmm.
or why any of her, like, Kira's her best mate and a cousin, whoever the fuck this one is, um, like, he
She'll
comes
get a
in
romance, I'm sure, at some point.
um, and neither of them say that to her, I don't think.
No, at the end there is like a little part of because there's obviously a third act breakup where I don't really think Laurie even knew what she was doing with that part, and she just sort of runs away because she doesn't feel she can be a mum and she doesn't feel like she's responsible enough.
Yeah, it just seems as if there's a part where it, it, yeah, it just doesn't yeah, the third act break, at least at the very least, I you didn't get it from his point of view, which is good because
True.
you you know it felt faster, I
I
think
feel like it's
somehow.
okay though to panic about that. I feel like she'd only really just started to date the guy. You know,
Mm,
this wasn't planned. It wasn't part of what she was sort of picturing for herself because she does mention throughout the book that she doesn't really know if she ever wants to have her own kids.
mm.
And then that all kind of gets that decision gets taken away, and she
I mean,
just is. Huh?
God forbid someone could say that they didn't want to have kids. Like,
Hmm. Exactly. Um, yeah. So I can see why she went away and did a bit of soul searching and went to her friend's house and kind of chatted it all through. But it was so quick that there was no point in any of it because nothing was resolved, nothing was really considered.
Yeah, it didn't. It seemed like, and I get, fair enough. I get that she didn't talk to him immediately. Like your body, your choice. Rock on, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh no, it was because she lost Olive. She didn't really lose her though.
yeah,
She just took her eye off well, I think she was watching her from a distance. Olive ran away to go on the tractor, and then it was
which
like
makes
this big
sense.
disaster where Archer kind of gets panicky and takes it out a little bit on Iris, and then she instantly just blames herself and goes, "Oh yeah, I can't obviously be a mum then because I lost a small child, a small curious child, for all of 15 minutes."
Also, I just don't understand. I think that was shoved in there. That was shooting because there's no. I'm not going to say it's not physically possible for a child to be lost, but like, what else would she have been looking at?
It's also
Like,
Dream Harbour. I feel like where else could she be?
also, what are the other fucks doing in the crowd? Did some of them not watch Iris, sorry, not Iris, Olive, get up and start wandering away without a parent, and not one of them goes, "Oh, I don't think that should really be happening." Nah, it should be fine.
Also, who does she go wandering off to? Logan, because he's on a tractor.
Yeah.
Logan should have been like, "Oh, I know you want to go on the tractor, but you clearly aren't with, your dad or Iris. They're probably worried about you. Let's go and find them. Let's not just chill out together on the tractor and hope they find you. Panic them half to death first." Yeah, it wasn't her fault. And then she just, I don't know, maybe it is realistic because she's pregnant, so she's going through an awful lot of emotion and probably a lot of soul searching and worry. But like, how much did that just get rammed in at the end? I mean, I think she panicked for all of about 3 pages and then she went back to the house again.
Oh man, it came on ready for us to sort of be like,
Mm.
oh, Bill wasn't the best, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, I'm 100% on board. This was shit. Do you know what
Oh man.
I did really enjoy the
Yeah.
tension and the build up between the two of them because I did think that was sexy. I did think that was kind of cool. The only thing I will mention is Archer was blonde, which I
We like
yeah,
a blonde boy. We like a little bit of certain characters that are blonde. But I feel like we like a bad boy blonde character.
it just I think whenever sometimes when I hear blonde, I want to hear platinum blonde slicked back like a certain favorite of ours, of which who will not be named. And if I
We're trying
hear
to
sort of
allude, we're trying to allude to it by not saying it.
yeah, I think everyone who's listening knows who we're talking
I
about.
mean,
And
we,
if
we, we ranked, we ranked him number 2 in our most recent ranking TikTok. So if you don't know who we're talking about, you can go and watch that.
yeah. Um, and when they sort of talk about, especially Archer in this setting, very much like a floppy head, golden. It wasn't ever like platinum. It wasn't, it was sort of
No,
like a floppy golden blonde. It just made me, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think I missed that entirely. I think I just pictured him as having brown hair. I don't even know what I pictured.
We like
Generic.
what we like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
everything else. Um, yeah. Reviews.
Reviews. 1 or 5.
Look, let's see what people actually thought was decent about it.
Well, let's start with what you have just said. The tension was well written and it was hot.
Yeah, I definitely think this was I think if I'm putting the pairings up there, I definitely think whilst Christmas Tree Farm was a better book, I found Logan and Jeannie's tension better.
Mhm,
Um
mhm.
and but Iris and Archer were sort of up there, like as yeah, I think maybe a bit better actually.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
sort of like the nighttime sort of coming out of her room and walking over into the kitchen.
And he's
Um,
forever making pancakes. I mean, but yes, yes, yeah.
what is that? I'm forever blowing bubbles. Or is it
Yes.
I'm forever making pancakes?
Pancakes. Yes. I mean, the house sort of smelled incredible. I love the smell of pancakes. But Yeah, it's an interesting plot device. He's always up in the middle of the night, and she gets up, and she's like, "Oh, hi, I'm just wearing a t-shirt and a pair of pants." Um,
Hot, to be fair. To be fair, like any kind of like especially if it's like an oversized man's t-shirt and
hmm
it's just oh, meh,
mm. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought the tension was pretty well written, to be honest. I actually quite enjoyed the fact that it wasn't constantly interrupted. I thought we were going to get an awful lot of that, where it's like they're just about to kiss or they're just about to do something else, and maybe Olive comes in, or they're like, no, we can't. Like they do give in quite quickly, and it's quite realistic in that sense. Yeah, it was. I agree. I think it was the best written tension of any of the books.
nice, nice.
Mhm.
Just speaking quickly about Olive there, I also really liked Olive. We speak a lot how kids can sometimes not be fully developed. I know they're not fully developed, but like they sort of just because the kids can't be fully developed in real life doesn't mean they shouldn't have attention paid to them in story.
Mhm.
I think she did really well with Olive. I thought she wasn't all that annoying. Um, she seemed quite realistic in terms of, I'm glad they didn't use her as a device to be like, oh, I don't want a new mummy or whatever,
Yes,
like,
yeah. Like she wasn't what was keeping them apart.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Um, so I really I thought that was quite refreshing normally with a
Yeah,
single dad kind of trope, or even she wasn't even used as an excuse from Archer either. So, I really like that. Yeah, I thought the
yeah.
kid was good.
She was a cute little character. I liked her interactions. I wasn't reading the book and thinking, oh no, another Olive scene. Like it was, yeah. Okay. The best in the series.
Okay. No, yeah, I mean yeah, I think I'd probably
Yeah,
agree. Even
happy with
like
that.
I'm surprised as well because the pregnancy trope at the end normally ruins things for me. But like I said, it wasn't
Yeah,
the worst thing. It
don't mind
wasn't
it.
sort of
No.
we'd been with kids anyway, so I think maybe there's a something to be said for a pregnancy trope with a sort of already single parent type thing. It's
hmm
not, you know, allowances have already been made for the child, so
hmm
maybe the pregnancy trope sort of fits with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. And I think it makes sense for the character development as well. So yeah. Um, perfect cozy spring vibes.
Um, uh, I wouldn't say it was perfect, obviously. I wouldn't say it was cozy. Um, and I were there any vibes? Were they spring? I don't know. I think they were hamming in the spring thing be with the strawberries. Like, I don't think strawberries are spring necessarily. The only thing that I sort of was like, oh, bit springy is they had a picnic, but that was it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I agree. I didn't, to be fair, I think this is the book where we get the least of Dream Harbour.
Which again, maybe that's why it could be the
Liked
best
it.
one.
Mm. So I didn't get any kind of vibes of like seasonal vibes because I don't think there was a lot included apart from the fact there was a strawberry day and there was a
Mm,
festival. Like I didn't really feel like we were in any particular time of the year in this one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't necessarily think that doesn't mean it shouldn't be 5 stars. But sorry, not that I would give it 5 stars anyway. But I think the person they can all have their opinions. I wouldn't have that opinion of it, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't give it. But yeah, I think I've jumbled myself up, but I know what I'm trying to
I
say.
know what you
Hopefully,
mean. I don't
yeah,
think the person writing that review gave it that 5 stars purely for that. I think that they were just saying it's quite nice to have a book as you come out of the winter, kind of dark nights, dark
yeah,
mornings, and you're getting that sense of like spring's coming, weather's getting a bit nicer, we're doing more things outside. I think that's what they felt it captured.
nice, yeah, yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for translating that mess.
Yeah, I don't know if it did feel like that for me, like no more so than any other book. And as I say, I feel like we got less setting this time, so I never really felt like I had a clear picture in my head of what Dream Harbour looked like in the spring, apart
Mm,
from the very end. So, meh, no. You're right. I wouldn't rate a book highly because of just because of that anyway. So,
yeah.
meh. Okay, 1 star. So you've already talked about this, Insta Lust.
Yeah, it just the last thing I would do is if I'm about to, so let me set the scene for you, Amy.
Hmm.
Um, Somehow, I
Hmm.
don't know how, I've had a child and not been aware of it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I've come to this town where my 5-year-old child lives. I need to make a good impression, first of all. Um, I'm already quite uptight because I'm a head chef at a fancy restaurant in Paris.
Hmm.
Or at what point do you think when somebody I first of all want to have a coffee because I feel like I need it, and then secondly, I don't have so somebody comes out, I'm wearing a white shirt, somebody comes out, spills green smoothie down me, so I don't have time for my coffee, and I also don't have time to go back and get changed.
Hmm.
I don't think now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that it's a completely ridiculous out there, but the person I'm looking at would have to be jaw-droppingly 10 out of 10, the
Hmm.
best person that's ever the like almost the most beautiful person in the world for me to not be pissed.
Hmm.
Like he is he and I felt bits of him being pissed, but like I did not like but I'm gonna move closer to her. Like yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's not a sexy scene, is it? I mean,
no,
even in normal circumstances where you don't have to make this incredible first impression, as you say, you're not going to feel great about getting smoothie spilt all over you. But when you know you've got to then go into this really high stakes scenario covered in like green goop because you've just walked into somebody who's like, oh, I'm so clumsy.
yeah.
Yeah, your first thought isn't, oh yeah, I like a bit of that. It's like, the fuck? Yeah.
And I do definitely think as well, like, it's not even as if he takes a moment of attraction, like, which I would understand. Like, I'm so annoyed with you, but you're also kind of fit, and that's a bit weird, like what we said
Hmm.
earlier. But it's almost this ethereal thing, this charge, like he wants to lean closer to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Like if it had happened and he was annoyed, but then he sort of looked up and sees her face and he's like, "Oh, okay." But still, I'm still annoyed by the situation, but I can acknowledge this person is attractive. Then
yeah.
yeah. But you're right, that kind of weird, like almost like there's real chemistry and there's a pull.
Yeah. Chemistry. You know what? She's just spilled a smoothie on, said 2 words, and she's talking like an idiot, babbling, being like, "La, la, 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 la," Gil, she's rubbing the green stuff into his shirt. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. So, so people were saying that Archer is just there's no depth to Archer's character. But I did write a little quote from one of the reviews that made me laugh. Archer's only personality trait is his inability to make pancakes, which I really enjoyed. Which did make me laugh actually, because it does feel at some points that that is his biggest hurdle to overcome, despite the fact that he's just discovered he's got a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I did feel like we got a little bit like at the beginning when Olive wouldn't talk to him, I felt the sort of
Yeah.
that sort of like well, but once she did, it was sort of like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
he's now super dad of the year and can do no wrong.
Hmm.
It's that strange thing, and I know people are going to be listening to this, going, oh, feminist soapbox again, guys. Well, it's that level of standard that women are expected when they become mothers versus what the standard is set for fathers.
Hmm.
Like, oh, isn't he such a good guy with the baby? Why? Because he's just held her once.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
or
and
that thing where it's like, who's looking after the baby tonight? Or who's babysitting? Oh, dad's babysitting. No, no, dad's parenting.
yeah,
This is.
exactly.
Uh,
And I'm not going after fathers at this point. I'm going after people holding up that low standard for
mhm,
fathers.
mhm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He
Yeah,
he does a lot of the good stuff, doesn't he? He does like, oh, let's cook together. And then he rushes home when she's feeling unwell and gets some medicine and stuff for her, which is, fair. But that is, you're right, that is like the bare minimum. We don't really see him parent as such. Like, Iris does a lot of it, and he kind of does bits.
I would say he probably does more than, as because at the very least he is a single parent in all
Hmm.
intents and purposes because Iris isn't actually in the picture.
Hmm.
But I do think he probably does more than what your average father would be given high praise for. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'd still say the bar's pretty low, and once he's got over that barrier of, oh, she doesn't really talk to me, it's like, we're best father of the year now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're
He's
right.
earned that number one dad mug.
Yes. He has. Um, Total opposite of what I just said a minute ago for the 5 stars. Each book has only got worse.
That is, um, I definitely feel I definitely would have felt that way if Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, if it had gotten worse than Cinnamon Bun. I don't agree. I definitely think Cinnamon Bun's the worst. Christmas Tree Farm and Pumpkin Spice are probably on an even keel for me.
Hmm.
Um, and then this one was definitely the best.
Yeah.
And look,
Yeah.
we it's us. We're not saying the bar's very high anyway. Like from what we said earlier, like I enjoy them more than Amy enjoys them, and
Hmm.
Amy hates them with a fiery burn. So, there's not a huge, well, actually there is. There's a huge scale of improvement on that.
To be
So,
fair, I only really hate the books if there's something in them that I just fundamentally don't like or disagree with. And I think for me, Cinnamon Bun was that book because of the way it dealt with her turning 30.
AJ,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it was,
yeah. I'm just trying to get that. Is that right? Was that her age? Yeah. That's when I can say I really did not like that book. And I would have DNF'd that book 100% if we were not doing it for the podcast. This one, I had nothing, there was nothing in it that offended me or annoyed me or it just wasn't, it was just fine. It was fine. I don't think it's fair to say that everyone's got worse, but that's because we really didn't like Cinnamon Bun. Um,
true.
so
I think
yeah.
as well, I think the reason we were so annoyed by Cinnamon Bun is because it's we were expecting it to be satirical. Like
Mhm.
that everything you were right that was being written or being written down was like clearly, obviously, life doesn't end at 30. Like, come on, Laurie Gilmore's clearly over 30. Like, so but I think it was that lack of follow through that I think that we mentioned in the episode is that there's actually no like, oh, come on, I'm just taking the piss. This is, how fun is this?
Mhm. Mhm.
None of that. So I think that's what annoyed us and pissed us off the most about Cinnamon Bun because
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with commentary around that because a lot of people feel that way. You get
yeah,
to that sort of age of 30 and it is a bit like, wow, this feels real. Like I feel like a proper adult now and I have to have achieved this, 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 and this. And we've talked about the expectations that society puts on you, but it's the fact that that book did nothing to dispel that feeling and did nothing to sort of have any sort of commentary on the fact that that is nonsense. And that's what the book could have done. It could have had the character feel that way, but then it could have done more to show the character that don't be daft. Life obviously doesn't end at 30. You don't need to feel bad about yourself.
yeah. And I wondered if they tried to do that with them two traveling at the end, but I just didn't get
And
it.
then getting married. Oh,
Anyway,
getting
anyway.
married. I don't know. Anyway, that's not the book we're talking about. But as a result of that book, no, I don't think that each book has got worse.
No, I would also agree.
Okay. Are you ready for Ick of the Week?
Ick of the week, ick of the week, ick of the week, ick of the week. Mm-mm. Yes, in a rare turn of events, you can go first.
I have an ick. To be fair, I only really ever have icks if it's a romance book. It's funny, that's funny. Anyway, I wonder if it's the same one. This really odd inclusion of Archer has a tattoo on his arse of an olive branch, and there's the insinuation that Olive's mum named her Olive because of this tattoo, because he didn't get the tattoo after he found out he has a daughter called Olive. He had the tattoo before, and it's to symbolize his time in Italy. He traveled Italy because he wanted to obviously build his craft as a chef.
Yeah.
that wasn't necessary. Why even include that? That added nothing to the story, and it just felt so bizarre.
I think it was meant to be like stupid, right? We clearly like
Mm.
the fact that we don't know proves that this is what's wrong with these books, is we have no idea whether or not that's meant to be, come on, this is so ridiculous. Like,
Mhm.
oh, he's called Hawk because he's got a massive hawk all over his chest, like it could be something
Yes.
like that. But
Mhm.
to name your child after someone you've had a couple of romps with, yes, it's the father of that child, but then to name them after a tattoo they have on their arse, but then to also never tell them about that child, those are two completely different lines of thought there that don't mesh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't understand where the need to even include that came from. And you're right, if it had been more obviously satirical, a bit tongue in cheek, a bit like ha 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 ha, it goes with the tone of the book, maybe slightly different, but neither of us got that. So I feel like it was a mess, that part. I was writing my summary notes because when it's whoever's writing the speedy summary, I don't know if you do this too, but I just sort of bullet point like key things in the plot. And I usually do it after maybe like every chapter or so, just because, I don't want to miss anything. And I got to the end of that chapter and I was like, oh, well, I'm not fucking putting that. I'm just ignoring that entirely.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair.
Mm.
I mean, in terms of the speedy summary, no, just for the interested parties who want to know how I write it, I will read the entire book and then I will write
Oh,
the speedy summary from that.
wow, my memory's nowhere near good enough to do that.
Sometimes neither is mine. Um, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what
we
was
style it
yours? We sail it
out.
out. We
Yes.
sail it out.
Yeah, no, as sad as I am that we don't have the same ick of the week,
Oh.
mine, I just wanted to talk about this purely because it's probably a thing that's like all throughout romance as well, yeah, this one. He tasted the best of the best, but nothing in his life tasted as good as Iris. And I just want to talk about that, for instance. First of all,
Mm.
with the generalization of that, with like romance, you don't have to, from Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout.
I
It's
was
ruined
just,
Honeydew Melon for me. Like, fuck
hmm
off. Every single time he goes down on her, he goes like, honeydew. Something like that. And it's just, right, fine, she tastes sweet, whatever, get away from it. We don't have to talk about it all the time. Anyway,
hmm
and then it's mentioned again and again and again, and it's always about how the woman tastes and ooh, and how it's all ooh. And I don't know whether it's done to try and like take away whatever stigma some men clearly have about going down on women, which I 100% champion. If we have to suck your cocks, you have to fucking go down on us, right? So I was gonna say if we have to suck yours, you have to suck ours, but like whatever. Um,
Well,
um, but so fine, I'm behind that positivity of that bit. But I also want to talk about the specifics of Strawberry Patch Pancake. We're talking about the man who has traveled around Italy. We're talking
mhm,
about a man who has worked as a head chef, worked his way all the way up from all these fancy restaurants in Paris, for God's sake. Paris.
mhm,
He eats the best of the best. There is no way Iris, this fucking frenzied fucking lass who teaches yoga, mind you,
mhm,
and fucking swims in chlorine most of the time with
mhm,
elderly people, tastes better than, I don't know, the best thing he's ever had in terms
mhm.
of food. There is no way. I don't taste better than the best thing anyone's ever eaten. Like, so yeah.
I feel like it's the thing as well. Like nobody's saying that you have to. I don't think anybody's like, oh, I could eat this delicious bowl of pasta or I could go down on you. Like we're not, it's not in the same, it's not in the same, no one's trying to rank these things on the same list.
Yeah.
Like you can enjoy food and you can enjoy that, but you don't need to be like, get that Michelin star meal away from me. Like,
Yeah.
shut up. Yeah, that's a great egg. That's a really good one.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just I think my comment on that was bore off. Like I'm just
Yeah.
yeah.
Your eyes hurt from rolling when you read this book. I feel like that's always my thing. Like I'm always just like, okay.
Yeah. The sex scenes, we sort of talking a little bit about them. I think what I kind of enjoyed about them is we got like um we I mean, let's talk about the wham bam thank you ma'am for the she just wants to get it over with. She thinks if they fuck it'll be fine.
Mhm,
Um
mhm,
and then she basically hikes down her pants, hikes out his dick,
mhm,
sits on him, and they have quite a like it's quite animalistic in a way, which
mhm, mhm.
I thought was quite risque for these books actually
I
because
thought it was quite risky as well. Yeah, usually it's very like tender and sweet and there's lots of like communication and not to say that's not great, but yeah, you're right. This was very different.
mm,
It wasn't
there was
along those lines.
it was
Yeah.
very desperate, it was very passionate, it was,
Mhm.
you know, but also I kind of like that. It was but also quite jarring, I found as well. Maybe because I was expecting the tenderness, but like I mean
I was
also
going to say that.
girl, get it, girl. If you want it, get it.
I was going to say that. I think that's a difficult balance to strike, and I don't always think these books get that quite right because I think she wants it to be really cozy and wholesome and slice of life, and also wants it to be like hot. And I think that sometimes you're totally right. You're like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not what I'm expecting when I look at the front cover of this book and I'm reading about the seasonal strawberry festival day, like,
Yeah.
and then you're getting this. It didn't bother me, but you're right, it was quite jarring.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine. And then they went and had the traditional, like, I'm gonna take my time with you.
Ugh. I know, it's so.
There's
Is
another
that
ick there.
after they have ice cream?
Uh, I don't even know.
Can't remember because they have a few dates kind of sprinkled in.
Oh
There's a
yeah,
lot of times though in this book, and I don't know if you noticed it, where the plot line just didn't go anywhere. So there was a part where he was going to cook for her, and I was like, okay, this could be the first time that they have like time by themselves, and maybe the tension's going to build. And then he just cooks something. He cooks steak and chips, um, and Olive just helps him cook, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's interesting. And then there's a swimming lesson scene, and it's like, uh, right? And then Olive gets ill, and it feels like there's a lot of kind of disconnected just things going on.
so in the swimming scene bit, I had like a bit of a flash of Deep End, and there's a part of me that just imagined like, oh, what if Archer had just like taken her and like fucked her in the changing room shower or something? And then there's a part of me that went, oh, wait, no, is Olive gonna be like face down in the pool, just like, and Olive
All
drowned.
the families coming in with like, the Veruca socks on. It's like, close your eyes! Because they're just in the communal showers. Yeah. Yeah, I see. I don't know. I don't know. Did you get that feeling, or is it just because I go into these books with quite low expectations? But sometimes, and I think it's because I was doing the summary, and as I say, I write the notes of like
Yeah, of
key
course.
things going on. And a lot of time, I kind of wrote something down, and then I was like, oh wait, that didn't go anywhere. That didn't add anything to the story, so I don't need to put that in the summary. I can
Yeah,
just take that one out.
now that you mention it, I wonder whether those things weren't there to enhance the sort of that they were there to enhance the romantic element, not
Hmm.
necessarily the sexual element.
Hmm.
Because and it became like that because of the involvement of Olive. And I'm not saying that disparagingly, like, you know, people have a sex life when they have children, you know,
Hmm.
fine. Not suggesting that. But obviously she's Iris at the end of the day isn't just getting to know Archer, she's getting to know Olive, and she's getting to know Archer and Olive as a pair, and they're
Hmm.
also getting to know each other as a pair. I think what I liked about it ultimately was there seemed to be a lot of time for character development as a three, and
Hmm.
with an awful lot of layover of like that Venn diagram of like but with three
Hmm.
circles, and it's like Olive with Archer, Archer with Iris, Iris with Olive, Iris with
Hmm.
Olive and Archer. Like it definitely gave a family structure and a family development quite nice. But yeah, sometimes that doesn't always then click and gel with the desperate,
Hmm.
passionate couch sex, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, Yeah, interesting, but I'm not sure whether it was right or wrong. I'm not sure because I've not read. I don't think I've read any other sort of like single dads or single.
No, I know that it's quite a popular genre. I know that there are quite a lot of books that deal with single parents,
Mhm.
kind of finding love, maybe with another single parent or maybe with someone who's not a parent. I don't know. Yeah, can't judge it. I also think it was just too long. I think most of these books have been a bit too long that you just don't need all of it.
Fair, fair. Final thoughts.
Listen, we didn't expect me to like it, did we? It wasn't bad. I'll read the next one because I liked it. I want to finish the whole series. The town meeting annoyed me again. And yeah, there was a town meeting remembered about the pancake recipe.
Oh yeah, there was. I
These people need to get out more. Like, come on.
You know, that is the motto of this now. Dream Harbour, they need to get out more. Yeah, absolutely. Whoever goes into a fucking pancake place and goes, "Oh, I hope they've made it from a pack or a powder or a pot." No, I want to see you mixing it and doing it
Yeah,
yourself. Some of those pancakes he made sounded insane. The lemon curd pancakes,
I
sign
know. With the
me up.
ricotta cheese, that just sounded heavenly. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And they wanted it to be like, oh, I really want the old crap pancake mix that you buy from the supermarket. Go buy it yourself then.
Yeah. Anyway, no fucking culture. That's what the people of Dream Harbour have got.
Do you
Or
know?
not.
And
Anyway.
why didn't you? Ugh, anyway, the diner, the whole diner storyline was silly. Just go and open a restaurant. Just go and open a restaurant.
Well, that's it. Is there just a finite amount of businesses that you can be thrust upon
Mhm.
in Dream Harbour? And also, it's not even his place at the end of the book. It's still old Shrew and Baboos, whatever she's called, and he's just what renamed the whole thing, revamped it. So he has no absolute personal pride in it. He's not making money from it. He's clearly not being paid that well.
I know the annoying thing too is that she obviously just called it Strawberry Patch Pancake House because it goes with the theme of all the other titles and it fits. Because how cute would it have been if he just called it like Olives? You
Oh,
know, like just something a bit like because that's typically what you get in these kind of stories and those kind of Hallmark films. It's like the name they rename the business, but it means something. What does
yeah.
Strawberry Patch Pancake fucking house have to do with anything?
Yeah, and also the fact that we had the strawberry festival, fine. I'm not even sure anyone eats a strawberry
I
in
never
that
saw a
book.
strawberry at that festival, Liv. When did
You
we
know,
go? Did
we
no,
went because we went. Obviously, we you and I specifically, we stayed in a fucking Airbnb outside of Dream Harbour. Then we
imagine.
went. We went to the fucking thing. We did the fucking tractor ride with Logan. We saw Iris nicking off, and we thought we probably wouldn't tell anyone. Um, then we decided to go. We decided to go to the diner. Um, but the pancakes were too nice, so we decided that we'd go to whatever general store there was and buy our own, and then make them at the
hmm
Airbnb. And then yeah, no, not once did anyone offer me a strawberry.
No, even a little strawberry smoothie, a strawberry pie, nothing.
No.
No strawberries. Strawberry jam.
Wait, was Jeannie there? Because they obviously all have a fucking stall, don't they? Despite the fact
They-
that there's a map in this one. There's a map there. I don't know if there's a map in
I
the others,
know there is a map in this one.
and it's tiny as shit. There's literally like, oh, well, we put the. Why would you bother putting based on the town layout? Why would you bother having stalls for the festivals when
I
the town
know.
is small? It's fine. Sorry, but let's not get talking
I
about it. It's fine.
know. Because I always imagined that the Christmas tree farm was quite a way away, but it's not.
How do they get snowed under? If that's it's fine, it's fine. No, don't worry. This is a
No.
you know what? Maybe once we do the fifth one, and I think maybe we call it after the fifth one.
I think so. I think we've established it's not for us, and we can add no
Yeah.
more constructive conversation.
Maybe
So
we then do a deep dive into the Dream Harbour town, collate all the evidence, perhaps, and do an exclusive episode on the town of Dream Harbour and how fucking ridiculous it is.
Dream
Um,
Harbour verse.
Yeah, and we can go from there. Anyway, these are still final thoughts. So, no, don't put the TBR. I know people are going to. I mean, it looks so pretty. It bringing you in with false promises. The sprayed edges of the works are gorgeous, and I'm all up for a sprayed edge, but not when it comes
Yeah,
to
don't
sprayed
don't
rubbish.
prioritize any of them.
Yeah,
If
there
you
you go.
if you want to read a seasonal book, maybe like at Christmas time, you could maybe read The Christmas Tree Farm if you want, but nah. There's better
Yeah,
books than this. I don't know why they've got all the recognition that they have. I think it's just been a really fortunate thing that people love Gilmore Girls, love like Stardew Valley and that cozy vibes. And I don't think there's many slice of life books that have kind of became as popular as these. So
no, I
someone
don't think.
had to.
Yeah, well, and unlucky for us, it was Laurie. Um.
Liv, let's
Oh.
turn to happier things.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I want you to announce this because we all saw your TikTok. Um, please tell us because I feel like the difference in quality is going to be sensational. What are we reading right now, discussing in the next episode?
Next week, Amy, in the next episode, we will be reading and discussing Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Book
Excited.
number 5 in the Hunger Games universe, or in
Mhm.
Panem, in Ha, yes.
What are we? Oh, 50? The 50th? What?
No, it's 49 episode. It's the 49th
Oh.
episode. Oh, sorry. Are you asking
No, the
games at
quarter
what?
quail.
Sorry. Yeah, it's the 50th. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm,
this is
mhm.
obviously this is not a spoiler because if you've not read a Hunger Games book at all, this is a spoiler. It's a very minimal spoiler, but if you have read the Hunger Games, you know this is not a spoiler. It's Haymitch Abernathy, um, well, I suppose mentor of District 12, former champion of the Hunger Games, and he takes part in the Quarter Quell where the reaping is double, I believe. So it's the Quarter Quell's the sort of 25th anniversary, 50th anniversary, 75th anniversary. In Katniss's time, it's the pool is reaped from existing champions, and from I don't remember the 25th one, but the 50th one, I think I remember there was double the amount of tributes. So there was 48 of them. But
Yes.
I might be wrong. I
No, I
think that
think you are right. Let me just see. Yeah, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes.
yes, yes. So there's 48. So if anything else, like immediately, I don't think you really before we realized we were getting a Haymitch book, like, and before we even, sorry, we meet Haymitch in the first one. He's sort of like he's a bit of an anti-hero, and then in the
Mhm.
second one, when they watch his tape, if anyone is I found this out. Someone very nice on TikTok mentioned this. I've forgotten what their username is. If you want a little pre-dip in the pool, pre-dip in the Hunger Games pool
Mm.
before reading Sunrise on the Reaping, you can read it's either I think it's chapter 14 in Catching Fire, where Katniss and Peter watch Haymitch's games on the recorder. On recording, they watch it again.
Oh, okay.
Um, and
Hmm.
basically tells you how he wins, essentially.
It's just going to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it is going to be amazing. Um, But yeah, all right, that's it because we realized that Haymitch is a former champion, and it's like, oh my God, yeah. But what I suppose maybe I didn't really take an interest in is that he beat 47 other people, not the original 23. And yeah, I know he doesn't, you don't all individually be, you're not going to kill every single person. People are going to kill each other. But yeah, mad, the stakes are high, and like I know that he survives, but at
Mhm.
what cost, Amy? At what
What
cost?
cost? I think this book is going to rip your heart out, and I'm
Yep,
ready for it.
yep. Bring on the pain.
I saw a TikTok last night. No, it wasn't last night. Night before, where someone was reading it and said there were something like chapter 3, chapter 4, and they were already sobbing on the video. So can't wait for that.
Yep, you big. I've actually had a bit of a tumultuous start to my Sunrise on the Reaping journey. As Amy just said, alluded to, I made a TikTok and it did semi well. I was pretty chuffed with it. I did
Yay.
tout it out as the best thing I've ever made, and I
Mhm.
stand hold fast to that. Um, Yeah, my pre-order did not come on time. Waterstones, can you get anything fucking right?
Mhm.
And but I wanted it for release day because so my dad was very lovely and he went to the works for me here
Oh.
and got me a copy, so it was here waiting for me and I got to have my copy. And I
The
thought,
works
oh,
are doing bits for book talk.
they really are. But I thought to myself, oh, well, I'll have like a standard copy from the
Mhm.
works and it'll be great. And then I'll have this exclusive edition from Waterstones that I've ordered and paid double the price of the works for.
Wow.
But the Waterstones edition turns up, Amy, not a sprayed edge in sight, a completely exact replica of the works' naked foil cover.
Oh no.
I can't see any difference between the two of them. All I've heard is that apparently in the Waterstones exclusive edition, there's an interview with Suzanne.
That's not why people buy exclusive editions, and I feel like Waterstones know that fine well.
Yeah, they've dropped the ball massively, and I will not be letting them get away with it.
No, I wouldn't.
This
So there's
begins my
there's
villain
no
era.
difference. I know
No,
this is it.
this begins my villain era against Waterstones
This is your
specific.
13th reason.
Yeah, to kill them, not me. Just to be clear. My antidepressants are working fine for you.
um, oh no. So have you actually seen anyone else with the special edition from Waterstones, and have you just got a shit copy, or is this is
Well,
it?
I put out on TikTok, I said, can somebody message me if they've also got it so we can maybe yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe they just sent me a stupid copy because mine does say Waterstones exclusive edition with a sticker on the front. And I thought, come on, fucking hell, they've put a sticker on or whatever. No, no one's is sprayed edged, no one's is whatever. Yeah, no. One person replied, to be fair. I didn't don't have a lot of viewers, but
Mm,
yeah, no, nothing.
rubbish. Rubbish. Okay. But you have
Especially
started.
for especially for a book this fucking yes, yes, I have
Yeah, but we
started.
were talking about this though, and you're saying it, and I agree with you. Like, you would think this book would have huge hype around it, and everybody would be so excited, and the expectation would be through the roof. I haven't seen much of it, and when we were looking today at like what are the new releases of this week, it wasn't listed on quite a lot of
Yeah,
websites.
yeah. I mean, granted, I only looked at two websites, but it was listed on neither of those websites, which I
Come
find
on.
strange. And then every other book I'd never heard of was listed. But
Mm.
yeah, anyway,
Mm.
people are stupid and clearly have no taste.
So excited though. So have you started it?
Yes, I mean, I'm about 20 pages in.
Yeah, I'm not a lot far in either, but yeah. It's just good to be back in the world. Love
Oh,
Suzanne's writing. She's exciting.
our unproblematic
Love it.
dystopian queen.
Love how she just comes in, boom, leaves.
Yeah, yeah. Wonder what my political leanings are? Have a read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Um,
she's a
yeah,
good
it's
woman.
great. It's great. If you haven't read The Hunger Games, then I would
Oh,
definitely do that first because you're so lucky. You're lucky to get to experience that for the first time. So go
yeah.
read that. Go watch the films because the films are also incredible.
The
And
films are
then,
great adaptations for sure.
mm, and then get ready for this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, we are certainly ready for it. And Amy, I will see you next week for a full debrief on our boy Hamish Abernathy.
Can't wait.